like the front of the cow?
I know that it's the joining of two muscles. So river. I think like shoulder, maybe shoulder to chest or shoulder to back.
Okay. Just bomb. That's like the best part for some reason.
Yeah, it's crazy tasty.
Brisket is from the breast area.
The breast area. Nice.
Cow peck.
Females? Or males?
Oh, they're on the steer.
We're gonna try and bring this fat cap down to like, it's probably a, inch and a half, 2 inches, maybe like half an inch. Kinda like you're peeling an orange. So we've dry brined. Kinda. I like a dry brine to be 24 hours. We put it in there at 7:30 and it's now 1:30 essentially the next day. So we've got like 7 to 12 is 5 to 12 again is 17 to 1. So we're like 18 hours. I think that's fine. You can see the deeper red, that is the salt penetrating the meat. And we can see the moisture coming in. So actually with this like liquid here on top of the brisket, you can just pour it off. All of the salt that has absorbed, again, you can tell that by way of the darker red color is all of the salt that we're gonna need for the meat. And it's gonna be really difficult to over salt this piece of meat because it's so big, but we're just gonna brush off with our hands. That's fantastic. There's really not any salt left on the bottom here. So great penetration. Really can't advocate for enough the importance of having your meat sit on top of a grate to allow the air to circulate. I'll wash my hands because you don't want to grab your, things with meat hands. You gotta wash your things. Now you want to wash your things, but you don't want to need to unnecessarily. So having washed my hands, salt's in the meat, we're just gonna pepper it. A good brisket seasoning is salt and pepper. We've salted, and now we're peppering. I've got a medium coarse grind of pepper here. We're just gonna get it real good, and then tap it in. Some people like to put some mustard on the meat to, I think we did that last time, have it stick, but you know what? That sticks just fine. You want to do both sides, and you want to get the sides, front and back, left, right, top and bottom. Those are the 6 sides. You don't want to skimp on the pepper. When it comes in Kirkland sizes, you can afford to let some fall through the cracks. You'll thank yourself later. This is gonna be some really good burnt end right here.
It's like nice pepper. Looks like.
Yeah, it's fucking killer, man. Like, I was never about paying attention to my pepper. As a kid, I was like, pepper, no thank you. And then like I got to like develop some taste buds, and I was like, yeah, pepper, sure, fine. And just recently have I really been able to distinguish the value of a coarser ground pepper. We've got some fine ground pepper. We're just trying to use it up so that we can, not waste it. And then, I think it'll all be this or thicker. But that's great. So the meat's out. Traeger's warming up. It's 35 degrees outside. Traeger's at 51. We're heating it to 180. As that happens, this piece of meat's going to come up to room temperature. You want it to be at room temperature before you put it on the grill. It's going to help in the cook. We're going to now melt this brisket tallow and inject it into our brisket. So what was moist and juicy, this is a prime cut of meat, Choice is fine if you find some good marbling. Prime, I think, is, as it indicates, what you want if you can get it. And as good as it is, we're only going to make it better. So I'm going to wash my hands, warm this tallow up to be able to put into our injector, and we'll get to stabbing. So maybe no one needs this. I would have liked to have been told this, and so I want to tell you this. For the longest time, I can't advocate enough, not necessarily the Rex Betty. There will be a link in the description below for said Rex Betty meat injector on Amazon, but a meat injector in general, man, you know, I'm a type 1 diabetic. I am really familiar with injections. I fill up my syringes by popping it in the insulin and pulling back the plunger. So that's what I, you know, right? It's essentially a syringe. And so I'd pop it in the tallow, I'd pop it in the fancy substance you're injecting into your meat, and I'd pull back. That comes with varying degrees of success depending upon what you are, you know, injecting into your meat and trying to get into your meat injector. This whole thing comes out of the meat injector. The way to do this, I have microwaved the tallow. I don't know if purists are shaking their heads or kicking rocks or, you know, really frustrated at this. Maybe I should have heated it up on the stove, but I microwaved the tallow to make it, you know, it's just perfect. Like that's, you know, this is perfect. I could probably inject this and just pull it out just fine. That actually might be easier. But what I found was, as I think about this, I worry about spooning it in here. It'll all just come out of these holes. So, depending on what you're filling your meat injector with, right, you're putting what you have in your meat injector into your meat, so it needs to be able to be pushed through your syringe. However, if what you're filling your meat injector to put into your meat with is not quite as perfect as this tallow is, one thing you can do is with a spoon, you can fill it this way, and this doesn't have an open end, so it'll fill just fine for a little bit. But look at that! Like if I was to just spoon this out, I mean, it looks almost inappropriate. It wouldn't stay in. It's only staying in to you know, the first quarter inch here. And so the method here will be to, like a syringe, pull back. But I wanted to provide that education, that edification on filling the meat injector, because that can be frustrating when you've got, you know, expensive things to put in your meat. So I've pulled it back, talking about how, yeah, I've got to pull it back. It's not going to work in the spoon. Then it wouldn't have worked in the spoon. I'm not sure how well it worked by pulling back either. So we'll see how it goes. Easy enough to keep on drawing, you know, like you're painting and just dabbing in a paintbrush. But we're going to go every square inch. We'll see what kind of usage we can get out of this liquid gold.
How do you tell if it got in there?
You'll kind of tell. Like I can feel, and I can see it coming out. I thought this was going to be, I'm going to change my tops here. I thought this, you know, whole solid stabbing point was going to be really good. I actually don't like it. It might have worked better over here, but I've got a different end. A nice thing about the Rex Betty meat injector is the variety of injecting pieces it comes with. Though they are difficult to get out of their holders. This one has just a couple side holes, And that'll be better suited for the thinner parts of the flat of the brisket. And it seems to provide better suction on the draw. Okay. Nice. Oh yeah. Now it'd be really funny if I pull this puppy up and there's just a whole bunch of tallow on the bottom because I was shooting it straight through it. But I think we would have seen it by now. So I think we're in for a really great piece of meat tonight. Oh yeah. It's never worked so well. You know, a lot of people, I'm sure you've heard this. I grew up hearing practice makes perfect. There's I'll stand behind this. Aside from you yourself, no one other than you is a perfect form of you. Aside from that, perfect doesn't exist. Practice makes permanent. And you know, you play how you practice. And so having done this now between 5 and 10 times over the last 3 or 4 years, this is the best time it's been. This is the best time it's been. This is the best it's been administered. We'll see in a few hours if it's the best it tastes, but everything's looking to support like it might be. I wonder. I bet there'll be differing opinions on this. Let me know in the comments section below if you can have too much tallow. I'm sure my nutritionist friends would say, of course. But I've got some culinary ones too, and I bet they'd say, you know, it depends. I feel like a dentist, hitting gums and coming in and then going sideways and going in more. It's wild when you start cooking and finding the similarities between your other professional practitioners. No offense to the compassionate dentists out there.
This is a combination of medicine and chemistry.
A little bit of art.
It's art, yeah.
So we are ready, we're injected, we're covered, we're warmed up to room temp. The Traeger's been at temp for the last 15 minutes. The dogs have gone outside to celebrate our efforts. I've got a meat thermometer in my pocket, and I know where to pop it. Cool. We're going to set the alarm for 1:55 because we're going to check it between 1:50 and 1:60. Getting the alarm on the phone at 1:55 gives us time to get to it and play with it. Wrap it up. Keep it going. All right, so we're 3 hours in at 180 degrees. Generally, we spritz with some apple juice. Today, we're mopping with some apple juice and barbecue sauce and hot sauce. I can't imagine how many of you are gonna say, like, what on earth are you doing? It looks pretty good. So hope I didn't, you know, screw it up too much. Just a good mop. Just a good mop. There we go. And we're actually going to leave this guy right inside. Take our mop in with us. We'll come back in half an hour. Pretty good. This is mop 4. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, nice, the lights.
That feels very nice.
Beauty.
Real nice. I'll wrap it.
Yeah. Good.
Applesauce? Apple juice?
Alright, let's see how hot this thing is. It's 180 degrees hot. So now we're gonna probe her again. This feels like the point as opposed to the flat, thicker part. Get it all the way in there. Get our paper towel off of there. And we're going to turn this up to 225. So in an hour to 3 hours, we'll let it rest until the morning and we'll have a killer brisket brunch. We've rested for roughly 11 hours, which is about as long as the cook was. And so we're just gonna put her back on at 250. Maybe unnecessary. We're gonna plug our thermometer in, and as long as the brisket is at 165, we'll be good to go. Just like butter. 90. Still coming up. Let a lot of the heat out. We're up at 250, we're at 102. So it'll get to 165, and you know, we like this flop. That's really good. River. That's a really great flop. Alright, we're just gonna bring her in. This is gonna be messy AF.
Okay.
Whoa. I don't think moisture will be an issue. Going for the money shot right across the point and flat. Juicy AF. So we are in business. Nice smoke ring around the side, just tears apart. It's got, you know, as much hang as you want it to have. Beautiful. Oh, I get Get a little bit of this. These are those burnt ends. Sir, this is for you.
Oh, thank you very much.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Good. It's hot.
Little bite.
Oh.
Not overwhelming. Hell yeah. Yeah, come on to the other. Come on to the other side. Yeah, and we'll get some of the flat cut up. Yep, that's real nice. So we'll save that and then get some of the point. Right. I've got one, I don't know if they're a subscriber or not, that said the last brisket didn't look right, so I'm excited to get the commentary on this one. I think this one looks exactly what it's supposed to look like. It's a killer smoke ring.
Yeah.
Super moist. I think that's gonna be great. Thank you for your help.
Yeah, thank you.
My goodness, absolutely. One of the sweeter joys in life.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.